Hello. Hello, hello.
Hello, Call It Crew. Welcome to another episode of Call It What It Is.
Because you call it. I'm so excited today. I got a little extra pep in my step.
Should we just dive right in and tell us why you're excited?
Well, I think it's 2 words that make me feel excited. Actually, it's 4. Camilla Luddington,
Yeah.
Geena Davis. Camilla Luddington, Geena Davis.
I mean, those two, I can see us starring in a movie together. Those two names together.
Wow. I just love that I tried to make it 6 and put myself in there. And you were like, yeah, totally running away with the movie that Geena Davis and I are starring in.
I feel like that's a headliner. That's a new Marvel blockbuster.
Move over, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, yeah. Geena Davis, for anyone listening who doesn't know, starred on Grey's Anatomy with us, and she worked very closely with you, Miss Arizona Robbins, and it was so incredible and exciting. And it was like, I mean, we're talking movie star on set.
Movie star
magic.
Yes. And I gotta say, on Grey's Anatomy, we are so lucky because there really it's an abundance of phenomenal guest stars. I mean, it's like no joke, right?
Yeah.
Like the people that come and play as, guest stars are just like unparalleled. And I remember, that there was like Denzel Washington. I remember hearing that Denzel Washington's coming and I was like, oh my God, Denzel Washington. I had no scenes with him. None.
I wasn't even in that episode. Yeah. They were like, who should we write in that's like amazing? And they said, take Joe out instantly.
In Arizona. Out.
You know, I have a funny Denzel story though. And Jesse Williams can attest to this because he was stood right next to me and he made so much fun of me. I went in to say hi and I was so nervous. I'm like, oh my God, it's Denzel, that I couldn't say my name right. So I was like, and then it literally didn't even sound remotely like Camilla. And Jesse Williams just happened to be standing right there. And he was like, what was that? And I was like, well, I'm not even in the episode. So that's his memory of me.
Yeah.
One and done.
Well, I remember seeing him because he directed it. He wasn't guest starring. He was directing. That's what I'm saying. It was like, take Camilla out. Yeah, she's out. I was in it, but I was only in it for a second.
I don't think I was
to justify the fact that they paid me for that episode is really what happened.
You just walked by.
I was in an elevator. I walked out of it and I walked into another elevator.
Exactly. Yeah. I had the same feeling with Geena though.
Well, so that's my point is that when they said Geena was coming, I was like, well, whose storyline is she?
Yeah. And you were not walking from an elevator to an elevator for that storyline.
No, I won the Geena Davis lottery.
You did.
And not only did I get to work with her, she and I were in lockstep.
I know. I was jealous of that lockstep, I'll be honest. I had some scenes with her though, but it's when you meet people like that, I find it hard to actually comprehend that that's the person there in real life. I'm not going to make her feel awkward on the pod, but I was definitely fangirling to an excessive amount. Which, makes sense. I'm going to be the odd one out on this pod because you guys really bonded so well on the show. And then after she left the show, you were buddies.
Yeah, we were buddies. And when I ended up leaving the show storyline wise, she came back. She was the one that came back to take me off to New York.
She threw her lasso out and dragged you off. No, I know. I'm excited. Hi, Geena.
Hi. Oh, I love your face.
We've been fangirling before you came on, Geena.
That's great. Yay.
Yeah, she likes that kind of love.
Well, because I was saying, I haven't seen you or spoken to you since Grey's Anatomy. And then I know that you and Jessica have since become such good friends. And you guys have been texting back and forth. And she even let me in on a little secret that when you're texting her, you have all these different nicknames for her.
Oh, well, I can't stop coming up with nicknames for
I
her.
actually, I had to go back and look at our text chain because I was like, there's so many of them. I don't even remember what they are. And there were upwards of 10. And I'm gonna pick out which my
Okay.
favorite ones were.
Okay, I think everyone will want to hear.
Okay, so amongst my favorites were peach fuzz, my flaky little croissant, my delicious little candied yam, my little caramel streusel, petunia, darling caramel cookie waffle, and the last, which would be probably the truest in the story of our relationship, which would be wise ass.
Yes, that would fit.
Why is
Geena,
that?
I agree. That is the most fitting of all of them. I love how they're food related, though.
Well, a lot of them, yeah. Yeah,
I'm down.
because I want to eat you
Yeah,
up. I want to eat you
yeah.
up.
Well, not like you, not as much as you like to eat those pancakes in the morning on Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, give me my pancakes or my
Yeah,
French
yeah.
toast.
And you know what? You and Camilla share something in common, which is that you wear tragic, cozy pants and weird t-shirts into the hair and makeup trailers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that
You
right?
wear like fuzzy pants and weird
Yeah.
t-shirts.
I feel like it's a vibe to roll into work in the coziest things. I don't need to look chic before going into the. I am really the worst dressed though, for sure. There's no doubt.
There's certain tops that I only wear for hair and makeup. I don't know why, for some reason, but for like years, 20 years, I have the same weird t-shirts that I wear that can get
Yes.
over your head uh, after your hair and makeup. Right. It has to be the zip
Well,
up
I
or something
remember
like
more
that.
than
Yeah.
anything that you came in looking beautiful and you left looking beautiful. And that's all I remember because you are truly one of my favorite people and beautiful from the inside out.
You.
No, really, you're next
I
level.
miss you so much. We had so much fun.
Next level.
Next level fun. Yeah.
We would super, super, super laugh a
Yeah.
lot. And obviously I have the shortcut to a lot of, I mean, I have like some of my favorite stories about working with you. You make me laugh so hard, even when it's, 11 o'clock at night and they call for that second snack. And I'm like, ugh, I can't. And you're like, but what is it? I'm like, I don't want anything. And you're like, but what is it?
Second snack, we should tell our listeners. Second snack means that you for sure in for like midnight possible filming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. One of the most endearing stories that you told me, Gina, was and we had similar beginnings in that we both started in New York. I've obviously come back to New York, but we both started in New York. And I would love for you to recall when you were modeling and then you got your job and you were cast in Tootsie.
So wild.
What did you, I remember you telling me a story about being hired, and I'm curious, did you show up for all the days of work or just the days of work that you were told to come to work?
Well, I never asked anybody any questions because I wanted to seem like I already knew what to do or something. So nobody ever told me that you don't have to come on the days you're not working.
No, Gina.
So I went every single day at 6:30 or whatever. I would show up, and I knew that some days they put makeup on me, and sometimes they didn't. But when I was there, and then I figured out that people had chairs with their names on them. And I didn't see a chair because I was like 10th or something. I didn't see a chair with my name on it, but my character was one of the soap opera actors, and she had a chair. So I would go in the props closet, which you're not supposed to do, and get my chair with my character's name on it and put it next to Sidney Pollack
Yeah.
because I figured, well, I'll just sit here. It never occurred to me that, oh, the actors' chairs are all over there. It's only him and producers that are over here or whatever. I put it right next to him all day, every day. And he never said, I think nobody ever said anything.
I was going to say, did no one tell you, like, hey, Gina, you can really take a day off. You don't need to be here at 6 a.m. No one said that to you?
No. I think they must have assumed that I want, that I wanted to learn. I wanted to be there, and this was just a thing that I was choosing to do. But I had no clue. Yeah. But do you remember this on Grey's Anatomy? There wasn't a chair with my name on it. And I took a piece of gaffer's tape and I put Geena Davis on it. It's like,
please tell me we have a picture of that somewhere. Do we have a photo of that? We need a picture of that. And by the way, how dare we have Miss Geena Davis on our set and not give her a chair? I'm embarrassed, Geena. Honestly, I'm embarrassed about that.
No, it was funny.
Don't worry, I made her feel cozy.
Okay.
It was fun.
It's a school of hard knocks over at Grey's Anatomy. Whatever. Buckle up. Let's go. If it was the 80s and Sidney Pollack was directing a movie and he hired me and someone let me on set, I think I'd probably do that. Just keep coming back and watch.
Yeah, but it wasn't a conscious decision. I thought I was supposed to.
She didn't want to, Jessica.
I'm a nerd. She's just unconscious. I don't know.
That would be a good story if that's what happened.
It's like a Christopher Guest movie. I feel like that's a character in a Christopher Guest movie that just does not know. It's so great.
What's going on? Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask Geena, because obviously we got to work with you on the show. What was your first impression of our set? I mean, you've been on 100 sets, but what was your first impression of
wow. Well, yeah, it was very favorable. I was a little overwhelmed, to be there, because everybody been there so long and was so comfortable. And I was like, oh, I'm the new guy, but it was fun. But the first episode I had two lines because I didn't read a thing before I got cast. I just was like, that show, Shonda Rhimes. Yes, I will say yes. So then I got the first episode. And I was like, this is a slow introduction, I guess.
2 lines.
And I wasn't in the second episode. And then the third episode, I had like 4 lines. But it turned out that Shonda's philosophy was I had always been there. So it wasn't like we're introducing a new character. I had always been at the hospital. You just hadn't met me yet, my character. So that's how that was. But it was great because I got to, ease into being there and being in the cast and everything. And then it was the best thing that ever happened that I got to be with my buddy in everything, my pal. It's so much fun. So much fun.
We did.
The funniest thing, because she's always saying the funniest things, but the best thing she ever said was, I said something like, how could they not give a chair to a movie star, after all?
Uh-huh.
And she very deadpan says, well, honey, you're not really a movie star. You're a guest on a TV show.
Okay. Not in my defense,
I want to fall off my chair right now.
In the retelling of my memory of that story, Geena Davis, we were very quid pro quo, and we were always taking the piss out of each other. And you would make me laugh all the time. You were telling a story about a director, because by the way, also before you'd come to Grey's, you had also played, the president of the United States on television.
Yeah.
You were talking about a director that I think had come to work on that show, and you were like, oh yeah, oh no, Jessica, he was a very big director. He was a really big director. He did so many movies. He was very fancy. And then I was like, wow, I can't believe he's doing, my show. And I think that's when I pointed out that you, in fact, were also a guest star on a television show. And you were like, how could you point that out? Like, what?
That's all we did. All day we took the piss out of each other. It was so
all day long.
No, it's funny because I did have a couple of scenes with you guys, and that's my biggest memory is how much you guys laugh together.
But in all seriousness, it was Dr. Herman came around after a time where I think that my storylines had been very deep and very kind of sad. And
Yeah.
Arizona was a little adrift and she didn't have, a partner and going through the divorce and everything else. And so to have someone that was her person was really important. And so I was so grateful for that relationship on screen and off. I mean, obviously on screen, and then the fact that I got the bonus off screen. And again, I looked through our texts before, while I was looking at this day and thinking about what we were going to talk about. And I laughed the whole
Oh,
time. Of course, I looked at all the things that you have done, Geena Davis, as a human being, and I'm so curious about so many different things.
Yes.
But I really, 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 really want to get into like you created the Geena Davis Institute because you were seeing that there was not enough representation and you wanted to put actual numbers to it and then show the world what those numbers were so that they could respond to it and be held accountable on some level is what I'm guessing. Yes or no?
well, it wasn't to hold them accountable publicly. It was to share the data with them privately and say, I think you're not aware of this. And
Right. Okay.
how it started was, through kids television. My daughter was 2 and I decided, hey, I could start watching, little kids preschool shows and stuff with her. So the very first thing I put on, I can't wait, and I'm like, wait a minute, how many female characters are on this show? And I Googled it, and there was one female character out of like multitudes of characters. And then I saw it in a video that we rented and a little kids, movie and stuff like that. And I was like, wait, what? What are we doing here? This is the 21st century. Surely we should be showing kids that boys and girls share the sandbox equally. But I didn't just suddenly then launch an institute. I just started talking about it with whoever I happen to have a meeting with. Have you ever noticed how few female characters there are in stuff made for kids? And every single person said, no, 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 that's not true anymore. That's been fixed. And they would literally name a movie with one female character as proof that gender inequality was over. So that made me realize this is completely unconscious. They do not, and they would talk about how much they care about girls and our biggest goal is to do right by girls and blah, blah, blah. And so that's what made me think if I got the data and shared it with them, because I believe it truly is unconscious, it should have an impact. And so that is actually what happened. Yeah, that's what happened.
So I have a question about this. So when you shared the data with with like studios, is that who you
and production companies and guilds and everywhere.
Did you get any pushback initially of people not really being interested and not wanting to see the data?
Not at all. And maybe it could potentially have been because I was talking about kids entertainment and people who make kids entertainment love kids. That's why they're doing it. And they were horrified. The universal reaction was they were absolutely floored to find that out because they literally had no idea. It was all unconscious. Like this weird unconscious feeling that if you have one important female character, you've covered females. So they were horrified. And that's why we've been able to make a lot of changes because they wanted to do better. And every meeting they were saying, can you do more research? Can you research us? Can you come back? We need you to talk to our other division. So it's been pretty incredible.
It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And for representation, which obviously, we see so much. And I think that Shonda Rhimes has done, I don't even know. I can't think of anyone who's done it better than her is that, when she talks about what she's done on her shows and about who is in her shows and why, I am always like, yes. And again, when you say, I think it's very graceful to say it's unconscious. And I don't disagree with you. And we can do better. I don't think it's a reason. I think it's a reason. I don't think it's acceptable
Right.
to say we're unconscious, right? Like it's a lot of,
right.
executives and actors and performers' jobs to be
Right.
conscious. We're consciously making art. So it's actually in our job description to understand what we're doing and why. And so we need to do
Right.
better.
And but I want to point out that behind the camera is completely different. That is in my
Oh,
not
yeah.
unconscious bias. It was on screen specifically that I was talking about. But yeah, but Shonda, I mean, when you go on that set, it's like it's the wonderful Wonderland world where in front of, behind the camera, I mean, every possible facet of society is represented. So, yeah, she's very good. I had the most magical experience on Tootsie as my first job. It couldn't have been better. I mean, with not only is Sidney Pollack, one of the best directors we've ever had, but he really valued me. I mean, he's an actor also, so he probably has a great appreciation for actors, but I felt absolutely wanted and equal and competent. And, he always made me feel like I was part of the team. And Dustin Hoffman, I have to tell you, was incredibly supportive and became kind of a mentor. All day long, he'd be telling me, he'd say, I know you're going to have a career, so you need to do this. You should read books and if there's a character you could play, you should see if you can option it and stuff like that. He taught me how to watch dailies to an actor's benefit. And yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I couldn't have had a better situation. And then Dabney Coleman was on that show, and he recommended me for a role in a TV show that he was going to do. So I was able to come out to LA, having been in a movie and as a series regular. So, I mean, I had some really good fortune.
So Jessica mentioned Thelma and Louise, and I geeked out. I've been waiting for this to be mentioned because I'm such a huge fan. I want to know when you signed on, it was such I mean, that movie. When you signed on for that movie, did you know from reading the script, like, this is lightning in a bottle, this is magic, this is going to explode and be huge, or not have just loved the script and didn't really think about
Right.
that?
No, none of us had any idea what was going to happen when it came out. When it
So
struck
wild.
a cultural nerve like that and exploded. No, we had no idea. When I read the script, it was already cast, by the way, by the time I saw it, but I was like, this is the best script. These are the best roles for women I've ever seen.
Okay, so someone was already cast in your role before you got it?
Yes, somebody just slipped me the script. These are the best roles in Hollywood. Everybody's after them.
How do I not know this part of the story?
I told my agent, we have to stay on this in case something happens and it falls through. So he started calling Ridley Scott's office once a week. Just so you know, Ridley. Okay. And then that all fell apart. And, Ridley hired a new director and my agent said, can Geena be the new director? No, he already knows, who he wants. But Ridley, in trying to find directors and going through all this and explained it to them what he thought the movie was about, made him realize, I know what this movie is about. I'm going to just direct it. And so that's what happened after going through these various directors. This was a year later. And my agent called Ridley and said, now that you're the director, can Geena meet with you? Yes. yes. She's been very persistent. Yes. So I meet with Ridley and I am fired up. I've got a year worth of passion. I had been meeting with my acting coach to work on a part that somebody else was cast in. That's how crazy I was. And I was working on Louise. My agent convinced me that I should be the other part. So I meet with Ridley and I'm pouring my heart out about why I absolutely have to be in this movie and I have to play Louise. He finally says, so in other words, you wouldn't play Thelma. There was a slight pause and I said, Ridley, you know what's interesting is as I've been talking about me playing Louise and everything, listening, and it just doesn't sound right.
Oh my God.
I actually think I must play Selma.
Smart woman. Smart woman.
Made stuff about why I absolutely had to be Selma. And then for a long time, we didn't know who was going to be the other person. And he said, we'll see what part you play based on who the other person is. And so then when he found Susan, it was obvious that she was going to play, Louise, and I would be Thelma.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh, and
In
then,
that chemistry read with Susan, did you know, like, oh, this is the
Oh,
pairing? This is gonna.
no, 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 no,
Oh,
no. Nothing like that needed for Susan. I mean, she was a big star. And the first time I met her was just Ridley and Susan and I were going to go through the script and, uh, see if there's any little changes or anything we wanted to talk about. So we come in and I'm just like dazzled by her immediately. And, I swear it was page one where she said, my first line here, I think we should just cut it. We don't really need that. Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. We don't need that. And I was like, what just happened? What? Because there were a couple little things that I wanted to talk about, but I had already planned the girliest possible ways to bring them up. Like this one, I'll just
mm,
pretend it's a joke, but maybe he'll say, funny, but interesting point. Or something,
mm.
and to see her move through the world throughout the entire shoot, the way that she does. And I had just never been exposed to a woman who doesn't preface everything she says by, this is probably a stupid idea, and I maybe shouldn't even say this. Do you think we could possibly, blah, blah, blah. And she doesn't do that. And people loved her. People loved, everybody adored her. It wasn't, oh, well, we like Geena a little better because she's really mousy. It's
yeah.
like they love Susan. She says what she thinks. It was
Ah,
so amazing. It was so life-changing.
I love hearing that so much. Your proximity to someone who's unwilling to people please or assume a role that is a little more accepted,
Mhm.
or more versed in the platitudes that come before the ask or the demand,
Hmm.
is so interesting because I am absolutely a recovering people pleaser. And Camilla and I talk about this a lot. I don't know if you follow horoscopes. Maybe this will mean something to you. Maybe it will mean nothing, but I am a Leo. She is a Sagittarius, and this means lots of things for lots of different reasons that we don't need to bring into this conversation.
Wait, Gina, what are you?
Aquarius. It's my
Aquarius.
age.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
But wait,
Yeah.
what's Leo supposed to be like?
Okay. Go on, Jess.
Just
Explain.
honestly, everything that you love. That's all you need to know. Um, everything
That's
you
the
love is a
most
Leo.
Leo answer ever.
Loyal, loving, all the things, Gia, all the
All the
things. Um, and Camilla and I get into this conversation a lot because the premise of the podcast is also our bigger community and people calling in and writing in and sending messages and asking for, our take on things. And a lot of the times I will come at it from like, let's be kind and let's think about what someone else would think. And Camilla feels exactly the same way that I do. And she will be sometimes like,
I'm a little blunt.
maybe we don't need to be so fucking kind. Maybe
Yeah.
when someone's an asshole, or maybe when you need something, you say what you need. And the fact that you are kind is enough. You don't need to act kind, be kind, platitudes. Like you just are kind and then you ask for what you need. So when I hear you say that, I think that must have been inspiring for you to have a partner in an
Mm.
unpredictable situation that you saw working your business in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like a 3-month lesson, a training camp or something. It was just astounding. Every day, was amazing.
Obviously, your scenes with Mr. Brad Pitt
I know we have to talk about
in a hotel room separate from her, although she does admonish you for your gullibility, not for Thelma's
Right.
gullibility. Um, was she there to be so level-headed when he was around?
Well, I mean, only for the scenes where we were together. You know, we had him in the car or whatever. She was there. She wasn't there that day. No, no.
Oh my gosh, because I have to say that scene, I mean, I get it. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, obviously, like, I mean, there were so many, you were a star that was already born. But your chemistry and what you all did together birthed just him as a star as well. And that was very well documented and acknowledged. I personally think that it's watching it as an actor and as a just audience member, it's one of the most playful
Oh,
and spirited and free and fucking sexy,
Oh, so
fun,
hot.
spirited and free and fucking sexy,
Oh, so
fun.
hot.
Watching you two together and seeing all that, it was next level. And I think that it was also that Thelma was in this relationship that was so
yeah,
closed and so like pent up and positioned where she had to be a certain
yeah,
thing. And you knew there was so much more to
right,
her. And all of a sudden, like in this expression of relationship and the chemistry between you and him, like this just like it was explosive.
right.
Did it feel like that when you were doing it?
That's what I wanted to know. I'm like, is Jessica going there? Because I need her to go there.
Was it as fun as it looked?
Yes, it was. It was. It was really fun. It was really fun. And a lot of that playfulness came from Brad. He's just so free. He's such an incredible actor, and a lot of bits and things were his idea in the movie. And but like in that scene, I think we're doing hand slapping, and he takes my ring off and puts it in a drink, my engagement ring, and puts it in. That
Hmm.
was him. That was his idea, and
Oh,
yeah, we
Brad.
just
I
he's
know.
yes.
Take all the rings, Brad. Take all
I
the
hate it when
rings.
Brad takes, yeah, I hate it when Brad takes off my engagement ring. I hate it when that happens.
I'm like, get me a drink. Get me a
Oh,
drink.
Brad, stop taking off my engagement ring. It's so weird.
No,
You can't predict what's so fun about saying chemistry like that is you really can't you can't predict that kind of chemistry too.
Mm-mm.
It's just it happens in the moment and it's just you can feel the heat off the screen.
It was really important.
it was very important. It really, I mean, the fact that it is still, it's absolutely relevant and lives on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It hasn't, almost every 5 years there's something or other for the anniversary, and there'll be a screening or something. And Susan and I we'll go at the end. We'll go. It still holds up.
Oh
Oh my
yeah.
Yeah.
gosh.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
we love it. I'm very lucky that I got to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Gina, I have a question. So you've been in so many iconic movies and done so much. If you could go back and refilm something again and rehab that experience again, what project would you pick?
Well, I'll start by saying I've wanted to do a sequel to every movie I've ever been in, um, except except Thelma and Louise.
I know you can't. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That might not work.
Yeah.
we had so many people ask us,
Yeah. What's heaven like? What's heaven like for you two?
"Anything happened?" But so I'll preface that. Uh, I would want to reshoot Long Kiss Goodnight over again and do all that stuff again, or do new, Sam Jackson and I always talk about that we want to do a sequel to that. But yeah, I just, it's hard to give up characters that you really love. I always wish that it was a series instead. You could keep playing.
I was 15 when it came out. And I remember sitting in Century City and watching the movie, and having my mind
That's
blown because there were so many things that I had not, um, I had not known could be true. It was
Mm,
probably like one of the first movies that awakened my idea of paradox, right? That you could be happy and sad at the same time, that you
mm,
could be, adventurous and also domesticated, that you could be, all these different things that seemed very much at odds with each other. And I definitely felt very much like I was just going into the world as a young woman and understanding my sexuality and not completely understanding how it would be understood by others. And so watching you two was just an unbelievable education and a phenomenal ride to go on. That being said, the other film that I watched definitely upwards of 5 times was A League of Their Own. And again, an incredible athlete with just this insane affability and this just heart of gold and this don't sell yourself so short with your platitudes and your kindness. You create these characters that just like melt into us, and we just instantly champion and feel for and love and understand, again, in that particular movie, your strength and your ability as an athlete. At the same time, you understand, feel for and love and understand, again, in that particular movie, your strength and your ability as an athlete. At the same time, you understanding that the box that you were checking for your country, and you are wanting to go home to a husband and a family. And I just remember seeing it all and feeling it all. And now we're living in a time where, we have real women's sports teams that are being actually funded. And so, obviously the recent news that Willow Bay and Bob Iger bought Angel City FCLA, and understanding how women's sports teams are actually not only existing, thriving, and being badass and awesome, yeah, but people are going to, like, the games are being visited and the merchandise is being bought. Yeah. I'm curious, do you keep up with that? Are you interested in that? Like, how do you feel about that?
Oh, yeah, I think it's exciting. I just read yesterday that women won more than half of the gold medals that Americans got.
They did.
And I'm like,
yeah. Yeah, they did.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. But, it's not about beating anybody, but just, being valued and being there. Like you said, it's incredible. It's so inspiring. Yeah. It's really, really, it's very cool.
I remember watching A League of Their Own for the first time because I loved that movie so much. And I remember thinking that I had not seen a sports movie about women before. And I was thinking about it before I got on the pod with you today. I can't think of a movie I watched before A League of Their Own that showed a group of women playing sports.
Right, right.
Which is insane, by the way, because there are many, many movies about men, right? There's so many. Right. And I could not, I feel like you're always, Geena, part of some sort of like breakthrough movie. I mean, the choice of work that you do, I mean, that movie was really, it was just so inspiring. I had never seen that before.
Yeah, the press all said, because it still is the number one box office sports movie, a baseball movie. Sorry, not sports movie, baseball movie. It's the number one baseball movie still. But all the press said, well, this will change everything. Now we're going to see so many female sports movies. And I was just like, I can't wait. And then I think 10 years later or something, Bennett Love Beckham came out. Okay. But that's not to say we haven't made progress, because we have, but it's been very slow since the days of Thelma and Louise and League of Their Own, as far as movies with strong female leads and more than one female. It's been a slog. But I have to say that some of the big action movies have changed things in some ways. Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel, and things like that.
Yeah. No, there's so many actresses that I admire. I mean, Scarlett Johansson and Jennifer Garner occupying characters in huge franchises that mean the most and are so strong and powerful is obviously huge. By the way, we were talking about being an athlete, and we were talking about sports, and obviously we've all been inspired by the Olympics that are past. But is it genuinely true that you almost made the Olympic team as an archer?
No. but I was a semifinalist in Olympic trot.
Oh, oh, well, that's almost making it to me.
That's almost,
I read that as almost making the team.
That's, to me, that's on the team and you've won.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I know. And things grow on the internet. So first it was, she was a semifinalist, and now I actually won the gold, you know, so it's.
Yeah.
Oh, you thought you won the gold.
Our notes say you won the gold.
But yeah, but I took up archery at 41, and, well, you were talking about how I like have to dive into things and stuff. And, my archery coach claims that at the first lesson, I said, how old is too old to go to the Olympics in archery? And I'm sure I didn't say that before I even touched it.
I think you probably said that.
Probably the second lesson, maybe.
Yeah. You're not competitive at all. Nope.
That's wild.
Yeah.
By the way, that was my favorite. We in England, because I'm from England, Geena. In England, that's part of our PE lesson. We will do archery, and it was always my favorite. I loved archery growing up. It's making me think. I want to know what is too old myself, because I've got gold on the brain after this.
Was archery? Did it turn into like just a hobby? Was just something that you were interested in?
So as much as people might believe it, I'm an athlete. I really wasn't growing up. I was so tall and gangly, and I was sure that I was not good at anything. And I didn't want to try anything. But obviously I had to learn baseball for League of Their Own. And I was kind of good at learning it. And then I had to learn like sword fighting and taekwondo and horseback riding, ice skating, for other movies that I did. And I was kind of good at learning all those. And I thought, I want to take up a sport in the real way and not the movie version of it, because they can make you look good no matter what, you know. I didn't have to actually hit home runs, in other words. So I decided I'm going to find something that I can learn in my real life. So it happened that the Olympics in Atlanta were on, and there was a lot of coverage of archery. And I thought, ooh, it's very dramatic, you know, and beautiful. And I thought that could be my sport. So I took it up, and I can't do anything like as a hobby. I have to be very careful what I get interested in, because whatever it is, I will want to go to the Olympics in it.
Yeah, and or win Oscars. So, yeah.
Geena, we need you to start breakdancing then.
No,
please.
No, I will not allow.
Geena, yes.
Nope.
You know what? Okay, we're not even allowed. We're not even doing that in the Olympics for LA anymore. By the way, I read that it's out. The category's out.
Guess what? I don't think
dancing is an Olympic sport.
Yeah,
Geena,
you missed it.
Just went. You missed it. It's gone viral.
So here's my question: what activity or hobby at present time makes you lose track of time? Like, where are you just like, I'm doing this thing and it's my happy place, and is it still archery?
No, I haven't shot for a little while, but well, I'm actually illustrating a children's book that I wrote, and
of course,
I'm spending all my days drawing, and it's really fun. But it's, you know, once I love drawing, I do it all the time. But then now that it's a job, it's like maybe I have to do this crossword puzzle first, and I have to
procrastinate.
All I do is procrastinate all day, and I start about 2. But I'm almost done. I'm working on the cover. So I'm.
Can we know? Are we allowed to know what it's about? Can you tease for listeners? Okay.
It's called The Girl Who Was Too Big for the Page. And it's about a girl who lives in a book, but she grows a little taller than the page. And so now what is she going to do? Because she doesn't fit anymore unless she scrunches herself down. So
I love this. This is great. I love that. I'll be buying this, Geena.
Okay.
Tell us. You have to tell everyone when it's out so we can all go get it. We cannot leave. I will not let Geena Davis leave without her just saying something about Beetlejuice.
Oh, okay. What do you want?
Okay. That script would have been really crazy. Were you in, though, when you read that script? Because I feel you had to have a vision for that.
I was absolutely in. And then I had a meeting with Tim Burton about it. And I told him, listen, I get this. I get this movie. I really do. This is going to be incredible. Da, 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 da. And I got cast. And he told me later that um, because I said that, he cast me because he felt like he didn't quite know what it was about. And he wanted somebody who
He was like, "Oh, Gina will know what's
was
going
very
on."
sure
Like,
about
she's
it
gonna know what's
to be
happening.
on the set.
She's gonna know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So incredible.
Oh, I was all in. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, and with September fast approaching and there being a new one,
Oh,
I
I
mean,
know. I can't wait to see
crazy.
it. I know.
Crazy, crazy. If you could be friends with any of the characters that you've played, who would they be?
Oh.
Whoa. Nobody ever asked me that. Let me think. Probably all of them. Uh,
I know.
I liked all of them.
But like if you could put one in your pocket or on speed dial or as your like number one in your starred contacts, like who are you fast
Uh,
dialing? Phone a friend.
if she wasn't dead, Thelma. Yeah.
I was hoping that'd be your answer.
Muriel from Accidental Tourist. I would like to be friends with her.
Ah, yes. I remember I don't know why. It's like, it's a totally random and whatever, but I just, again, in the people pleaser category, just always wanting to be liked and to sort of like get, whatever smarts I had to offer the world to have them be, accepted and carried through with kindness and gentility and everything else that I had sort of felt like I needed to do. I remember that scene where they're on the road and his husband is on the phone with her and he says, Thelma, you better get your butt back here. And I don't know why, but that whole like Thelma, get your butt back here thing pissed me off. It hit something in me that was like people pleaser cape off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no, I am not. If I am Thelma or if I am Jessica, I am not getting my butt back there. As a matter of fact, my butt is going to be so far away from you.
I love thinking about this, how you're like 15-year-old Jessica
Yeah.
Capshaw in the movie theater being like, you.
You, we need Thelma, get your butt back here. Are you kidding me? You don't own me.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And that's where she says, Daryl, go f yourself.
Yeah, Daryl. And it was also like the perfect name. That Kelly Corey had the best names. I mean, the fact that you got to, as Thelma, talk to Daryl, and Daryl had to talk to Thelma, and Thelma, get your butt back here. Oh my God, it's the
I
best.
can't believe you even remember how you
Best
said it.
casting.
That's so funny. You were talking about being a people pleaser and everything. Then why were you such a wise ass with me? Why?
I grew out of it. In my evolution, baby. Geena, you got the 2.0.
No, wait, I have something to say about this. Jessica picks and chooses her wiseassery. Geena, we have been subjected to a capshaw that we shouldn't have. We're part of an elite group.
I wouldn't miss it.
It's true.
I wouldn't have
It's
missed
an
it for
elite
the world.
beloved
It made
group.
my life. I wouldn't have missed it for the world. I need more of it.
You guys get my true self.
We get it. We get the true self, unfortunately.
Yeah, you get my hard eye rolls and my wise ass comments. Everyone else thinks I'm so nice.
So, if only they knew. They're finding out now because of the podcast.
I know.
That's right.
Geena, thank
my
you so
gosh.
much for being here.
You're the best.
I just want to sit and listen to every story that you have ever. And you're just such an icon. I have to say, before you came on the show, everyone was super nervous because you're you. And the first thing I asked when I got to set was, is she nice? And everyone was like genuinely obsessed with you and said that you were the nicest, most incredible person. And it was so true. And just thank you for coming on and gracing all of your amazing presence with us and the Call It crew today.
Yeah.
Gosh, all of those incredible compliments. All I have to say is,
She rolled her eyes. Is what she
I know,
did.
I
She
saw.
didn't talk. She just rolled her
I
eyes.
saw it was just it was an eye roll. We have an eye roll.
We have an eye roll on board.
that's in honor of you, baby.
Oh my God, I know it's so true. I'm the eye roll queen. I love you, Geena Davis. Thank you for coming.
I love you, my firm tofu.
I'm a firm tofu. Well, I don't know. Maybe we go back to caramelized sweet caramel.
Oh, yeah.
Waffle? What about
I like the
darling?
flaky
Cookie
croissant.
darling. Yeah,
Was
I know.
good.
It's by the way, just so you know, because I looked back on our text, that my first one was ma pêche, little French, and I like to do my French accent on the show. Ma pêche.
What's that mean?
Camilla really likes it.
What's my
Oh,
fish?
God. My fish.
You called me that. I think it's by Peach, no?
Oh, my fish.
Is that how bad Jessica's French accent was? That you had no
I don't
idea
know.
what she was saying?
Stand down, Luddington.
All right, you guys. Thank you.
We love you. Please come back anytime you
Thank you
want.
both. All right.
No big deal. Just a Hollywood legend. And call it what it is.
Oh my God, just a Hollywood legend being legendary.
I don't want to be starstruck on our pod, but there are moments there where I just was staring at her like a stalker.
Yeah. 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 That's how I
it.
felt a lot. But you know what I also really, really enjoy? And we talk about this a little bit. When you're used to representing a film or a TV show or a project, there's an element of safeguarding where you're talking about things in a way that just positively frames everything. And it's lovely, it's fine, it's great. It's interesting, it's informative. And there could be this other thing, which is the bringing of an X factor. And Geena brings the X factor. She really lets you into how she thinks, who she is, the story that, I think that some people or some other people might guard or whatever, because
Yeah.
I think she's just got such a big heart, and because she lives so purely and kindly that she has nothing to hide. And so her stories are just super funny. And she's, she reveals so much about
Yeah.
herself and her experiences. And so I found that so, inspiring when I was working with her. And again, tonight, in bringing her to the podcast, I'm reminded of how much I love that part of her.
No, she's exactly how I remember her. She's so cool. All right, Call It Crew. We want to hear from you as always. And we're going to drop how you can contact us. Again, in case you don't know, you can follow us on Instagram at Call It What It Is, and please DM us. You can follow us on TikTok at Call It What It Is Pod. You can call us at 8337-CALL-IT or 877-722-5548 and drop us a voicemail. Or you can email us at callit@iheartradio.com.
Oh, Call It Crew. We love you so much. And by the way, I would also love to know what about these episodes is speaking to you. What are the things that you love? What are the ones that you're like, meh? It's okay. We can be bold. We can live our lives out loud. I'm open to it. But it's just so important because we hold you all so close, and we are pouring through these DMs and emails, and just feel so lucky to have you showing up in your very best and very worst selves, as we all are in life. And thank you. So keep it coming and have a wonderful night. Should we call it?
Let's call it
The end of the episode.